Okay, the infratemporal surface of the greater wing of sphenoid, and to some extent the squamous part of temporal bone. In the roof, mainly you come across two foramens. One is the foramen ovale and other one is the foramen spinosum. Okay, below it is actually open and it communicates with the parapharyngeal space, or the space which is present on either side of the pharynx is called as the parapharyngeal space, because as I told you, medial limit, or you can consider the lateral wall of the pharynx as also the floor of the infratemporal fossa. So infratemporal surface of greater wing of sphenoid, which you are able to see here, and you come across the foramen ovale, and then behind that you see the foramen spinosum, and behind that you see the spine of sphenoid. This is your temporal bone, mainly squamous part, which has got articular fossa, and then that is the articular tubercle. Through the articular fossa, the head of the mandible, or what you call it as the condyloid process of the mandible, articulates, forming the temporomandibular joint. That is the inferior border of the zygomatic arch you are seeing. The zygomatic arch is mainly formed by the temporal process of zygomatic bone and zygomatic process of temporal bone. So both the bones actually contribute for the formation of the zygomatic arch. This is temporal process of zygomatic bone. This is zygomatic process of the temporal bone. Okay. So now coming to the communications of this infratemporal fossa. Before that, I will again quickly just repeat the boundaries. Anteriorly by the posterior surface of body of the maxilla. Then posteriorly you have the styloid process with the carotid sheath. Medially you have the lateral pterygoid plate. Laterally what you have is the ramus of mandible. Below it is open and it is continuous with the parapharyngeal space. Above it is mainly formed by the infratemporal surface of greater wing of sphenoid and the squamous part of the temporal bone. Now, the main communications of this fossa, it communicates with the orbit through the infraorbital fissure. With orbit, it communicates through the infraorbital fissure, which is actually seen on the upper surface of the body of the maxilla. Through the infraorbital fissure, it communicates to the orbit. Then it also communicates with the pterygopalatine fossa via the pterygomaxillary fissure. Pterygopalatine fossa, mainly the pterygomaxillary fissure. Okay. So through this, mainly the maxillary artery will enter. Then it is called as the third part of the maxillary artery, which gives rise to so many branches. Pterygopalatine fossa. So inside the pterygopalatine fossa, you have the maxillary nerve, trunk of the maxillary nerve, and it is giving various branches. Then you have the pterygopalatine ganglion, and certain sympathetic nerves. Okay, so you also have deep petrosal nerve, which is actually a sympathetic nerve joining with the greater petrosal nerve also is there. So pterygopalatine fossa is a separate topic which we will deal in the forthcoming classes. The next communication is, it actually communicates with the above.